In war, you can only be killed once, but in politics, many times, meaning there are actually and there have always been fundamental, imperative, necessary, and unavoidable and undeniable differences and distinctions between both the different realities of politics and that of war, because these two are fundamentally different from one another, even though we sometimes confuse them as resulting from the other. But in reality, they are not always connected. Now, there is always the connection between war and politics, because it's always the politician's liability, duty to prevent and refrain from war, conflict, and all other humanitarian tragedies in one way or another. But what politicians and politics and the different elites and bureaucrats and capitalists and other organizations and power sources ultimately do in the societies is that they wage wars against other countries and peoples, particularly for the purposes of exploitation of resources, lands, and minerals, and the manipulation of the people, the destruction of their culture, society, cohesion, infrastructure, etc. When in reality, this should not have happened. But the thing is, when we are in war, we can only get killed once, because once the bullet pierces through our bodies, we either survive or we die immediately on the spot. But in politics, we die many times because of disrepute and dishonor and many other episodes of dangerous actions and blame, even though it's not always our fault. But in politics, we continue to die and we continue to get killed by many other sources of elitism, bureaucracy, capitalism, and the elites and the donors. They ultimately pull the strings from behind the scenes, because they ultimately fund the government. They ultimately own the whole system, including the government, in one way or another. So the politicians and leaders eventually and inevitably have to do whatever their donors and the elites tell them to do, even if it means destroying other people, their countries, cultures, societies, cohesions, even if it means waging a particular war or conflict unnecessarily and unreasonably against a neighboring country. So that is what is dangerous about politics, that you are constantly attacked and you get killed many times because of higher influences and obviously greater pressures from elitism. But in war, we can only be killed once by either bullets or bombs. So that's